We also will be making changes to our definition of a close contact for classroom exposures only. Data from individual schools in the state and across the U.S. indicate that it is rare for student infections to occur from exposure in the classroom when all parties are masked. That data shows only about 3 to 5% of infections occur in classroom. Throughout the pandemic, we have defined a close contact as someone who is within 6 feet of a positive case for 15 minutes or more. Those individuals have been required to quarantine for 14 days. As we have talked with schools, we have found that the majority have only been able to achieve a distance of 3 feet to 4 feet between students and classrooms. This has not resulted in increased cases, and schools consistently are reporting very little transmission within the school setting. One school district in southern Indiana reported that nearly 98% of more than 1,900 students who were quarantined never became ill, and that nearly 3/4 of staff quarantines were due to exposures that occurred outside of the school setting. We've weighed all of this data, and as well as the burden that a 14-day quarantine and contact tracing have placed on our school systems, and we'll be making the following changes effective Monday. We will no longer require quarantine or contact tracing if the students and teachers remain at least 3 feet apart and are wearing a mask at all times in just the classroom. I want to emphasize that this is for the classroom setting only. It does not apply to lunch, athletics, band, orchestra, choir, or any other school setting where students may gather, nor does it apply to classrooms in which students have been allowed to remove their masks. We also are adjusting our approach to quarantine timing to reflect the new options offered by the CDC. We at the Indiana Department of Health continue to support the CDC stance that the safest quarantine is 14 days because only 0.1% of individuals will become symptomatic or positive after that length of time. But we will allow the other two options that the CDC has offered, provided certain conditions are met. The first is to allow students and teachers to return to school after 10 days, provided that the student or teacher never develops symptoms and that they are very fastidious about wearing their mask at times, all times, when they return to school. Another option is to allow a student or teacher to return to school after 7 days if their PCR, so gold standard nasal swab on day 5, 6, or 7, or an antigen test, which could be the Bionex Now card test upon return to school on day 8, is negative. Again, this presumes that the student or teacher never developed any symptoms and that they will wear their masks at all times when they return.